Welcome, whoever you are, to Meg's Magical Mansion, a virtual guest house for spiritual wayfarers, a place where the ordinary becomes magical, where wisdom is yours for the asking, and where your higher nature is just a wish away. Thanks for joining us here today at Meg's Magical Mansion. I'm Meg, and this is my fluffy assistant, Miss Alice Poopers. And today we have a special crafting episode for you. We're going to be showing you how I made the Yule box for our Yule celebration. And if you didn't get a chance to see our very last episode on Yule 2021, go back and take a peek and you'll hear the story of the Julebok and why throughout Scandinavia the goat is a symbol of Yule and the holidays at this time. And you can also see a little bit about how we used them for our Yule celebration. But today I'm going to show you how I actually made them after a quick stop to the feed supply store to get a bale of straw. I was all set and ready to go, so we'll take a look at that. We're going to visit the fairies. We're going to go see what they've been up to and what the fairy village looks like in wintertime. And we're going to kick it off by showing you how to make these adorable little pentagram ornaments. So we'll start off with these. So we're going to hop over to the crafty area and get started. And I'm going to show you how I made these cute ornaments. You could hang this in the window as a protection symbol. You could hang it on your Yule tree. You could give them as gifts. You could do a lot of fun things with those. So let's hop over to my craft area and I'm going to show you how I made those pentagram ornaments. Right, today we are going to make a little Yule decoration that you can hang in your window or on your Yule tree. This is a little grapevine wreath. I ordered these from Amazon, but you can also get them sometimes at the dollar store or at craft stores. And they come in different sizes. I thought that would be a good size for hanging in windows or hanging on a tree. The next thing I found were some branches, just whatever branches I could find. This is from a live oak tree. These are from a cedar tree. These are trees you can find here in Florida, and that's where I live. So I just got whatever was around. We're going to be creating the 5-sided pentacle in here to create a pentagram. So that's the plan, and we're going to be using twigs. So we're going to be a little creative about how we do things. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is get my glue gun going and just glue this first one down. And I'm really not, if I want them to stick out a little bit past, I can just do that. The other thing is I can always come back and cut them afterwards when the glue is dry. So that's kind of like my first one. So I'm just going to hold that down, sort of let that dry. That looks like a good angle. Then up here, I'm going to try to cut this at an angle. For your next step, you're going to need some clear acrylic finishing spray and some gold glitter. Okay, so now we have this guy. It's all dry. It's so glittery. I love glitter. So we're going to put some little flowers. Again, you can put them down low. You can put them up high, wherever you think looks cute. Now I'm just going to use a piece of cotton cording to make a tie for my ornament.
Look what I found! Meg must have made it. She's so crafty, that one. I love hanging ornaments on the tree for Yule, our favorite time of the year. Fabulous.
So here are the materials you need to make these adorable Yule Goats. Of course you need straw. You will need a pan to soak your straw in. Some kind of plain string so you don't waste all your good string. And then some red embroidery floss or any kind of red thread or twine or anything like that. And some scissors. Alright, let's get started. The first thing you need to do is start to bundle up some of your straw and try to find pieces that are similar in length. Now I'm going to take my bundles and just loosely tie them up while they soak. I found it's easier to sort and then soak. Now we're going to fill this up with water. So we're going to soak it for about 30 minutes until the straw becomes soft and pliable. See you back in about 30 minutes. Alright, we're going to make some goats. Start with, let's take a look at some of our different straw categories. We have long straw. These I had for the little horns for the goats. We got some shorter straw, we got some medium straw. Okay, so I'm gonna take about half of that. And I'm going to try to really line it up this better now and get the pieces sort of ending up, you know, end to end. If it's not quite long enough, I try to get the ends to match up as well as I can. Alright, now we're gonna kind of tie enough to make a tummy area. Wrap it around a few times. One thing with these goats, you will be doing quite a bit of tying. Snip and snip. And you can scoot them around a little bit once you have them tied. And then alright, so that's what we have so far. Scooch this down a little bit, make his tummy a little bigger. Now, this is going to be his back end, his posterior. And I like this one, looks like a good one to braid for a little tail. So I'm going to leave that out, but I'm going to separate the other two, and we're going to see if we can make him shake his little booty. There we go, made a nice little booty. We're going to bend them so the legs will go down. Okay, so get a little bit of red here. I'm going to leave this guy up for the tail. I'm going to tie this one up pretty high towards the top of his leg. Now I'm going to tie the bottom of the leg here. Okay, so we have one leg down. Remember this nice big fat piece here? I'm keeping to make the tail. So the rest of this will be leg 2. Okay, and I just keep bending those down so it'll make it stand up. I like to try to match these guys up a little bit so they're sort of in the same spot. Really trying to tie these knots as tightly as I can. Now I'm not going to trim the feet yet, leave them because you want to get the front done and trim them all at once. But I am going to braid the tail. And that means I'm going to split this fat guy. This is why I picked a chubby ubby wubby, so that I can hopefully, maybe, so let's see if I use the scissors. Alright, so now I have 3 strands and I'm just going to braid my tail. Tying a little knot. If you really want, you could even put a little bow on your tail. That's up to you. curl it up while it is wet. I'll trim this a little bit. So you can trim the ends, curl it up while it is wet. Hold it in place while it's drying. When I'm gonna hold something in place while it's drying, I like to use the white, so I remember to take it off, because if I use red, I might forget, and then later on I'll be looking at it going, well, why does its tail look so weird? Because I didn't take it, uncurl it. So I am just gonna tie a little knot right there. I'm just gonna hold that in a curl for a little bit, so it'll dry curled up. And again, I keep working on my legs. Again, while this is wet, you can play with it. Once it's dry, you're toast. Now, up front, we're going to take the front part. And while I do this, I can kind of sit this here and keep these legs bent. Keep my tail curled. Now, here, I'm going to split this, not this way to make legs, but the opposite. I'm going to put half of it down, which will become the legs. So this part's going to become the legs. This part is going to become part of the neck. So this is going to get split again into making two legs. And I usually put a little bit more down here for the legs, but don't worry, because they're both going to get a little extra fluff here. So I'm going to make another little pile like this. Now, this is kind of the tricky part. So I have it like this. Now, I put half of this down, which is going to make legs. I put half of this up, which is going to make the neck. This is like the chest of your goat right here. So this time I did a split to make legs and neck. Then I take these guys and I just lay them right across that. And I grab one of these, and I'm going to do the neck. I'm going to tie it on the neck, because I'm going to split this down at the bottom to make the legs. But first I'm going to anchor it up here where the neck is going to be. And that is going to start your neck. Now down here, it's going to get split again in two to make the legs, but we'll do that in a minute. We're going to continue up here and make the second part of our neck. So we're going to grab another piece of red, and we're going to, if you make it look too long, it looks like a giraffe or something. So goats don't have a super duper long neck. See how this is I'm going to try to really make everything straight here on the neck with the straw, so it's not really twisted, but make sure it's very straight. And then you can tie it up. Don't cut these too close, leave a little tiny bit or they'll just come untied. So now we've got this. Now we're going to make the head. We're going to bend it over. Bend it over, and you'll be able to trim some of this stuff later that looks funny. Don't worry about it. Bend it over, grab a piece of your red and start to wrap it around and give it a tie. Whoop, 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 whoop. Good little goatie. Now I'm making my intentions. At the same time I'm doing all this, I'm thinking about how these goats are going to be beautiful conduits for everyone who uses them to help them with their intention setting. So I just want them to be clear conduits for people. So I'm putting a little bit of my intentions in them while I'm making them, that these goats are going to be really, really good conduits and great vessels for people to load their intentions into them. Now, you still want to bend that down a little bit more. Sometimes if I really want that down, I will take a piece of white and I will seriously tie it here, just like that, so that I can see, you can see how that will hold this down while it's drying. And that will keep his head in a downward position. And this is going to make the head, and I can kind of trim a little bit there. Not too much or it won't work. Now, while that's there, one other thing I might want to do is trim down my nose so I can work on my legs. So I'll go ahead and cut the nose, and now I can work on these front legs. So I'm going to split it in half. Alright, that looks good. Now I'm going to split the front legs in half and of course tie up at the top. Now we're going to tie off the bottoms of the legs. And again, I'm just trying to get those straws straight. Some of them are pretty crooked. Now we're going to cut the feet. So what I'm going to do is just kind of like this. And if I think these look too long or he's too crookedy, I can always kind of fix it. Now, let's see how he's going to stand. Not bad. That's pretty good. His back legs are a little bit too high, so I'm going to trim them down a little bit more. There. Now, while he's drying over here, we're going to work on his little horns for his head. Alright, for these you want to get two really nice straight pieces of straw. And I'm going to split it once. And I'm going to cut it a second time. Okay, I think I have three I can use. They're a little wobbly, but I'm going to go for it. And flip it that way. Basically, all you're going to do is, again, braid them like you did the tail. But when you're braiding this straw, you want to fold them over rather than just, you know, try to braid them flat. And don't worry if it starts to curl because, hey, it's going to be a horn. We want them to curl up. Now again, I don't worry about making these perfect. Number one, they're supposed to look rustic, and number two, we are going to be throwing them into the fire and burning them. So I'm just not going to get too artistically caught up in something that, you know, it's more of a symbol. But you can trim any loose little bits that you see here. See a couple more here, just trim them. It'll be fine. And then of course what I'm going to do is trim this end. It's too long. And we're going to twist it up. Twist it around and use a piece of the white to tie it in place while it is drying. And the tighter you can curl it up, the curlier your horns will be on your little goat. So now we're just going to leave this one to dry, and we're going to make the second one because we'll need two. I'm just going to tie my back legs bent up while they're drying. I have my tail tied in a curl. I have my head tied down, and these are all with white, so I know that that's just there while it's drying. And I've got my horns done. They're tied and they're drying. So I'm going to leave these things to dry, clean up some of this mess, and then we'll come back and put the horns on the goat. Okay, now we're going to untie all our little white bits. Remember, we used the white ones just to kind of hold it together so we could get the right shapes we wanted. Our little guy will stand up a little bit better in the back end, and his little tail looks a little curlier. Now we can untie, loosen up our little horns for the head. You can see they've got a nice little curl to them. Curlers! We've got to put the curlers on our goats. Alright, so now we have our horns. And what we're going to do is we're going to, well, we could use a little more. Tighten that one up. But what we're going to do is we're going to take these and we're going to attach them on to the top of the head like this, and then they will go right down behind the head. And then we're going to trim these right off nice and even with the end of the nose. And there is our little goat. And he's not quite dry, so I could still do a little more positioning if I want to. Alright, there he is. Hello. I hope you enjoyed doing crafty things with us today here at the mansion. Don't forget, in the words of Buddha, 1,000 candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. If you had a good time with us here today, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and we can let you know when we post new episodes. Check us out on Instagram. And we'll see you back here next Thursday for a special holiday baking episode of Meg's Magical Mansion.
Oh, I love Yuletide.